Alright, so this is going to be a new camera for me and a new review. So we're looking at a 2015 Harley Davidson XG750 or the Street 750. Completely stock, nothing special done to it. Kind of some of the side profile stuff of it. Alright, see how this turns out with this camera. So bear with me here. But that's a good idea of kind of what it looks like. Kind of front and back and side. So you got pretty normal bike stuff, right? As always, you got the shifter there, and then these really small foot pegs, and those are the same on either side. You got like a soft tail suspension. The kind of club style, I guess you could call it, front headlight. Get those protruding turn signal lamps. That front suspension that is akin to maybe the newer, kind of looks like the new Sportster. And then that airbox, little storage container. Same kind of the other thing. So I'm doing this video. A friend bought one of these, and they let me do a review on it. So we're gonna do a review on it. Had a chance. I probably put about under 100 miles on it, but I had a good idea of kind of what I'm dealing with. So what this is, it's like a one-off Harley Davidson. I believe they stopped making them in 2021, and started making them for this year, the 2015. So this is kind of the first Harley that they created that's under an 883. I believe the smallest engine they made since probably the beginning of their inception. So standard still created Harley. This is technically not even created anymore, but this is probably one of the smallest engines they ever made. So this is called the Evolution engine. It's a different engine. It's not going to be the same as you'll find in an 883. It's just completely different. So it's really good beginner bike. I think Harley created this bike just for the school they have. Like they wanted to have a bike that people can drive and kind of hop on a motorcycle for the first time, and that's what this was created for. They have a 500 and they have a 750. So this is the 750, the biggest of the two. My first impressions of it was that it looks pretty good. It's different than anything else. The seated stance is much more sporty. I would consider this more of like a naked cruising bike than I would consider it. A naked like sports bike than I would consider it. Even close to a something that I would call a cruiser. It's not a cruiser. Even though it's technically probably classed as that, the riding style and the riding stance is closer to almost a sports bike. I've never ridden a sports bike, so my impression is probably pretty low and invalid, but I think that this is probably pretty close to what that would be. So you notice that everything's it's got all the Harley emblems on there. The classic gas can is what they call their symbol. And then they have the 750 inscripted on the side. So let's just talk about it. It's something that's really great if you've never ridden before. If you're a more seasoned rider or intermediate, this is something that you could also just hop right on and ride with no problem, which is what I did. I didn't even need to really learn much or anything. I just got on it and rode it. It's plenty fast to hold apart, a two-up, a partner on the back, although the seat is not much of anything, so riders beware. You may need to like strap yourself into that little nub on the back, like get like a bungee cord. Well, don't do that, but something to hold you in a little bit better, because if you see, there's nothing in the back. So if you're riding two up, hopefully it's not for too long. But you can this is probably the best price pointed Harley that you can find on the market. Even something like you can't even get a 90s 883 for the price that you can get one of these. In fact, I know you can't. This one has 1,000 miles on it, just over like 1,100 actually, to be exact. And it was gotten for somewhere around $4,000. And I don't even know. It would be hard to find a decent 883, the Sportster, for around that price, because I've been looking, And so especially with this little miles, you're just not going to do much better if you absolutely have to have a Harley, which this is. As I've kind of been looking at the bike, I'm noticing a lot of interesting like choices on some of the hardware. Like this is interesting, just like a random bolt sticking out there unfinished. Some of the other stuff, like the springs are pretty crude. They're just very basic. Just kind of some of the bolts, I don't know, just for some reason it sticks out that it's not quite the premium Harley experience, which I think that's not what they're going for. They're going for a very entry-level bike, because millennials and Gen Z and Gen whatever is happening right now is not able to afford those $30,000 motorcycles, especially if Harley wants to stay in the market and not just have retirement age folk. You're going to have to create a more affordable bike, which they did, and then they stopped. So what does that say about them? I don't know. But if you're looking to buy a Harley and you're looking to have something that you can afford and that looks pretty darn cool, there is a huge gap in the market for aftermarket stuff directly from Harley, because they only made it for like 6 years. So keep that in mind. You're gonna have to get most of your stuff off like Amazon or eBay through third-party whomevers. But if you're looking at this for your first bike, and you want to have a Harley, I think this is a really solid option, especially for the price point. Like I said, you can get a newer one for better than you can get an old Sportster, and this one hasn't even hit, it's barely at the 1,000 inspection mark. So it still has the Harley Davidson tires on it. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Anything else to mention? Yeah, really fast. I'm surprised by how fast it was. I think I don't know, it seems like one of the faster off-the-line Harleys I've ever ridden, and I've ridden quite a few. I myself got a new Harley in the last few months, and I'll be doing a review on that as well. But if you're entry level to intermediate, and you want kind of the flexibility to go on the freeways, which you can, don't tell people you can't. It may not be the most smooth ride, but this bike isn't smooth by any means. It's crude. It's naked. It doesn't have all the suspension that even a Softail will have, or the Sportster will have. It's got the very basic stuff. But if you're learning to ride and you want to keep yourself like satiated for quite a few years, this is not a bad option at all. People will tell you, they'll kind of turn their nose up to something like this, but I think it's plenty cool. I mean, I've been entertained on it. It wouldn't be my main bike, but I would definitely consider it as like a secondary bar hopper type. So yeah, this will get like a 7 out of 10 for me.